Okay, bringing everyone in on the short one. I forgot to hit the good old start broadcast button there. But we are here to just have a little fun. We could pick apart this game, Alex, but that would rob from the actual show, which we would need to have post game. So you want to just
the show's happening, Jamin. I think everything's still up in the air, is it not?
Everything's still up in the air. Lots still up in the air. The Quakes are only down a goal. They could come back. Is Colorado Vancouver starting yet, or is that thing still?
Apparently, the fans have invaded the pitch in Colorado right now. There's lots of rain delays across the league. That's where we're at. Jamin.
My son is about to invade the show, which normally I don't let him do, but for tonight, we can let him sit here for a little bit because he's cuter than I am. He just wants to say hi to everyone. And now he'll probably go look for himself on the recording over there. So, and he's going to get one more thing, and now he's out again. Okay.
Any Quakes predictions from your son?
He just comes in and he goes, "I want Quakes goal." I think everyone watching this probably knows by now he's autistic, so he doesn't have full language skills, and so. When I flipped over to LAFC in Seattle, he was like, I want Sounders goal. So he just tells me which team he wants to score a goal. And then he gets upset at me when they don't do it, because then he gets antsy and he wonders why they're not scoring. So this has been happening a lot during Quakes games recently. He won't stick around for very long because they're not scoring goals very often.
Sounds like he speaks for the people, Jamin. Sounds like he's a good Quakes fan.
He's definitely a man of the people. So okay, what do we got going on? Is 360 going? We can go to 360. Let's go to 360.
I'm on 360 right now. I think for everyone who's tuning in, I see we have a couple folks joining right now.
Right, you turn the sound down because I don't know if we're allowed to have even the sound on right now.
I have my sound on mute, but the plan is to watch along, and we don't know if the Quakes game is going to start again. It's been going on, an hour and a half now, Jamin?
Yeah,
is that where we're at?
So I'll just let you know, I have questions into Ted Ramey, who said, I don't know what's going on. I have questions into Carlin Carpenter, who is there, who said, I don't know what's going on. We got questions into Pedro Ortiz from Quakes PR, and he's like, I don't have any updates. And it looks like the Quakes, social media doesn't really have a good idea and is saying they're going to slide into the DMs of the league for some sort of updates. We actually don't know what's going on. Here's the thing that we have kind of heard a little bit as a rumor is that it might restart at midnight Central Time, 10 o'clock Pacific Time might be the restart sign. Okay, so they said 12:18, which makes sense on MLS 360. So 12:18 Central Time would be the target time. So 10:18 our time. So a normal
hour and a half, or is that in 18 minutes, or is that another hour and a half, Jamin?
What's that?
Is that 18 minutes from now, or another hour and a half that we have to endure?
No, that would be Central Time is 2 hours ahead, Alex. So that would be another hour and a half. So we got to entertain the people for a while here. I hope you're up for entertaining.
At what point do they give up, Jamin?
Do you have a Connect 4 game, and I have a Connect 4 game? We should play Connect 4 like they do on some of the social media.
You do tic-tac-toe up here on the wall.
Exactly. So what's going on here? Oh, great. I love it when 360 goes to a commercial because you're like, there's live games going on, but yet you're showing me a commercial here. So what if we leave 360? We saw that Austin scored against Dallas. And is that now halftime in Austin, Dallas?
Well, I don't know because MLS 360 is on commercial, Jamin.
No, I just went over straight to the game. So I went over to Austin versus Dallas, and it looks like they're talking about Leagues Cup United against Hunger.
It does look like it's halftime in that one, yeah.
So that's halftime. So Austin with a 2-0 lead over Dallas. So just when you think things suck for the Quakes, things suck a little bit worse for FC Dallas. So that's good news, generally speaking. What's going on in LAFC Seattle now?
I believe LAFC is up 1-0.
Yep.
That was the last update we got, which means that LAFC is clear at the top of the table. There was a moment, Jamin, when the entire Western Conference felt like they were within 3 points of each other, first to 7.
I think that's still the case. I think that's still true on the live standings. Let's see. Let me go to live standings right now. MLS
on 32 standings. Points. You got to go down to 26 for Real Salt Lake. The Quakes.
Oh, okay. Yes, LAFC is spreading it out, but 2 through 7 are within 3 points of each other. So even if the Quakes lose tonight, St. Louis is already in the books with a loss today, and the Quakes could move ahead. Although St. Louis would have a game in hand, the Quakes could move ahead just by merely winning on Saturday.
So this is the calculations that are usually going on in our heads during the game. We've never done a mid-game Aftershock before.
My simulator has already simulated the season 10,000 times from this point forward, and it already foresaw that the Quakes had maybe a 20 to 25% chance of winning today, and maybe getting a draw. But the majority of the time we're losing, but still ended up in a position where they are more likely to get 4th place than any other place in the playoffs, which that's pretty good, that they still have that as their best possibility, although Houston's right up on their tail now. And of course, a win tonight for Houston, if that result stands and we finish the game, probably would change the calculus a bit in terms of the simulator.
For context, everyone, this is what Jamin's doing during the game. He's just hitting refresh on the simulator after every stoppage and play.
That's right.
Refresh. The Quakes have, 30% chance of winning. Now it's
every day's like decision day for me. I just keep hitting refresh and pretend it's decision day, and we have a lot of fun that way. I don't know what people are expecting us to do in a rain delay. I don't know if this is entertaining or it's not entertaining, but there are
apparently, Jamin, we have updates.
Just have a lot of fun, right?
Apparently, we have updates. Apparently, game is starting at 9:15 PT. So in less than 15 minutes. We don't have a long time here, Jamin.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, then great. But no one is telling me that.
You'd think the players would be out to warm up. Is we be seen soon? They said 15 minutes of warm up is the
or 15 minutes of warm up. So I think we will kind of know if the players start coming out to warm up. We will find that. So Lindsay said, is that a loss or an expected loss? Well, we're just going by live standings. So on live standings, which there might be a way I can share this, but Alex and I have always kind of struggled with trying to figure out the best way to do that. So let me try to see if I can figure out the best way to do a live standings. Hang on one second. I'm going to move that tab into a new window. See if we can figure this out.
Well, it says right now the Quakes would remain 5th place if results stay as they are.
Earthquakes posted a match update. Warm-ups are currently underway. Kickoff is slated for 11:15 CST or 9:15 PT. So we can hang out here for about another 15 minutes. And by the way, that presumes that some new lightning strike doesn't come along, because once it does, the clock resets on all that, right?
I think that's right, Jamin. Please don't send any lightning strikes their way.
Yeah, that's not.
Is that accounted for in the simulator, Jamin?
I did not account for lightning strikes in the simulator. As I've mentioned before, there's a lot of gotchas with simulators, such as it doesn't know that Lionel Messi is joining the league and things like that. Whatever midseason moves teams make, not factored in. Whatever coaches are fired, not factored in. All the simulator thinks is that things will continue the way that they have been, which we know in MLS is definitely not going to happen. But we factored in some wild cards into the methodology here. So I need to figure this out. So I'll go StreamYard, go present, go to share screen, and pick a Chrome tab. So you guys can see this?
There we go.
There we go. So now we got live standings. So in the live standings, we can kind of see how crazy it is. So St. Louis on 29, bunched up through Real Salt Lake on 26. The Quakes in Houston would be tied on points, goal differential, everything if things stood as they were today. But Houston gets the tiebreaker on the wins column, as we figured out in the Slack, thanks to pulling up the 2018 rule book, because apparently no one's updated it since then. but Houston also with a game in hand. And that was why it was important for the Quakes to try to get out with at least a point tonight, was because of that game in hand.
So Jamin, we're looking at this right now. Where do you think the Quakes end up by the end of the night, assuming the game restarts? Where do you think they end up in this Western Conference table?
Well, the safe thing to assume is that they end up in fifth, which was kind of the safe thing to assume kind of coming into this game too, was fifth. Because LAFC...
You don't have faith in, so you don't have faith in a Luchi Gonzalez tactical masterclass, Jamin.
Say that again?
You don't have faith in a Luchi Gonzalez tactical masterclass.
No, I'm just saying what the most likely scenario is, and because you're trailing by a goal with 30 minutes left in the game, that's kind of what the probabilities are going to come out to. So,
I don't know if we can be so certain about that, Jamin.
The Quakes can come back. Yeah, absolutely. Anything can happen midweek MLS. We've seen that a number of times.
Jamin, I'm expecting the unexpected. I think that's what this weather delay, that's what the moral lesson is for us, is that we think we can predict what happens in this league, and we really can't. And I think on a Wednesday night, rain delay in Major League Soccer, we got to expect something funky. If I'm one of the players, this is basically an entire new match, right?
You've
had an hour and a half, you're reset, you are probably had at least a long time to figure out what your tactical game plan is. Luchi Gonzalez has got to sketched out something, you think?
Yeah, well, but so has Ben Olsen. I mean, again, as I've said before on this show many times, both teams have agency. So I just assume that both teams, whatever their tactics have been to this point, are going to be fully adjusted, and they're going to show some sort of new look coming out. I think that's the only thing you can assume. The Quakes have to go for the win. Houston, can at least try to hang on for a draw. We could see some subs coming in. Both teams have subs available. Lucci's still with 3. And has Houston even made a sub yet? They have a full complement of subs. They might have all 5. You can see some Houston, just massive rotation. They just sub all 5 guys coming back on and just give everyone a break and play like it's a new game for 5 players.
All right, here's what I'm saying, Jamin. What I'm saying is that MLS should make this an official tournament. They should have 20-minute little mini matches, a series of mini matches for a mini tournament winner. That instead of Leagues Cup, I know they're trying to make Leagues Cup a thing. I'm saying you have 20-minute scrimmages and you play 3 or 4 games a day, and then you run that over and over again.
I thought that was called the MLS Next Cup playoffs, where they play like these mini games all the time.
Is that what it is?
They're doing that for the playoffs, though. Maybe they're playing full games for the playoffs. But they're playing.
What do you mean by mini games? Are we talking 20 minutes? Are we talking 35 minutes? Are we talking 40 minutes? What's the deal?
In those like compressed little tournament things, they play I think they're 30-minute halves. I think they play just a total of 60 minutes in those compressed MLS Next showcase type games and stuff like that. But
I would love to see
maybe they're playing full games.
How MLS changes. If you only played 30 halves. My instinct is that the Quakes would have a significantly better record this season if that were the case, Jamin.
So I just went back to 360. Did we know that LA scored on Sporting Kansas City? Did we know that was 2-1? I'm not sure I did. So LA,
I did not.
I saw that in the standings, but LA is up 2-1 at Sporting Kansas City, which isn't the worst thing in the world, kind of considering that Sporting Kansas City was starting to creep up the table, and you want to prevent them from continuing to creep up the table, I would say, and getting too much confidence. But that would put the Galaxy ahead of Colorado in the spoon race. So, because you got to assume Inter Miami is not going to hang on to the spoon once Messi arrives.
I think you're going to have a hard time convincing a Quakes fan base to support the LA Galaxy.
I'm not telling them to support the LA Galaxy. I'm just kind of saying, giving Sporting Kansas City enough points to move up to 8th seems like not a great idea.
I thought this was a new era, LA Galaxy. I thought we had to be worried about the Galaxy now.
Well, I don't know. Since they fired the guy that Vanny reported into, and now Vanny is the president, the general manager, the coach, the everything all at one time role. That should solve everything. Is that what we're expecting from the Galaxy? Because the guy who doesn't play soccer got fired?
Yeah, no, that's the game plan.
People on the field are all of a sudden going to play soccer differently.
Yep, that's exactly right.
I'm not sure that's how the game works. But anyway, if it makes the LA fans feel good, then they can have their little moral victory, I guess. Okay, so I think if we're starting up here, then we should start to get a broadcast, shouldn't we? If we go back, has anyone determined?
If they're still awake, that is. I almost fell asleep.
Does it still show a weather delay? It still says the match is delayed due to a weather event. So maybe if they're starting to turn it back on, they certainly haven't told the television announcers that's the case. All right, so we just heard from Pedro. Pedro says on track for 11:15 kickoff. So we're 5 minutes away from that, but again, we have not yet actually started this. So you know what we could do, Alex? We could just like continue the watch along through the Quakes match itself, and then start the Aftershock after that on the other recording that we've already scheduled.
That's an innovative idea, Jamie. You should make a company, a startup for things like that.
Well, there's already.
You should call it like Twitch or something.
Stuff already exists. It just doesn't work very well. And the other problem is you can't share the screen, right? So it's just you and me just sitting here talking when they could be listening to actual announcers talk.
Jamin, here's what I say: if the San Jose Earthquakes make the MLS Cup final,
we have a video feed.
A watch along.
It's official. We have a video feed. There are fans moving to seats, and players are now moving around on the pitch.
So what do they do? Do they play the highlights? Do you have to like catch everybody up on what happened? Because I think I've forgotten 50% of what happened, and I was trying to forget what happened in that first half. James.
Yeah, I think you try to forget the first half. I think that's a very fair thing to do. But yeah, they're showing, I think, highlights. This isn't live, is it? Or is it? Oh no, they're showing the low lights actually. They're showing Houston's first goal. Yeah, that was pretty bad. Yeah, that wasn't great.
Both of them are pretty bad, Jamin.
Yeah, no, this isn't great either. And that's not great.
Is that what we call this, Jamin? Pre-aftershock? The
pre-aftershock. Well, I mean, in this case, it's kind of a rain delay. The pre-aftershock. That would be I'm still like, is that a foreshock or what is that?
I think those are tremors. I think these are tremors. Is seismologically what it's called.
Or an aftershock.
Yeah, something like that. We need to work on our branding, James.
During shock.
We'll get a NABAT to help with that one.
Yeah. The mid.
Apparently, there was a 5.2 earthquake in Japan, though. One of our friends from the Quakes, epicenter patron saw Jeff was watching during the earthquake.
Yeah, I think Jeff would have to confirm this, but I think it happened right around the same time that a Bobasi scored. So there was this tremor in Japan. He felt it, and I think it was within a few minutes of not a Bobasi, a Capo's goal.
I think you're already forgetting what happened in the game. This is why you should be watching the highlights on 360 right now, Jamin.
That's right. The Quakes game is we're the Earthquakes now. The Quakes game is the new Aftershock.
Yep.
So
that's right. That'll be Luchi Gonzalez will be watching this show and then giving us tips.
All right, we got 22 people hanging in here. I mean, y'all tell me, do you want us to stay on for the rest of the game, or do you want to listen to actual television announcers talk to you? Oh, so Jeff chimes in. There you go. There's the official. The Earthquakes over here was 2 minutes after the goal. So the Earthquakes scored a goal, and the tremor was felt all the way to Japan and shook the building that Jeff Ickes was at. Crazy.
Is that how long the vibrations take to travel, 3,000 miles, whatever it is?
Absolutely. Have you not seen the way that the ocean moves during a tsunami? Because don't you just watch tsunamis all the time? I don't know.
Yeah.
I just picture like this wave just like coming in and just like, and Japan knows a thing or two about tsunamis. So, they would know.
All right, Jimmy, if you're gonna be an announcer here, you got to practice your commentary voice, though. Your Peter Drury voice.
Don't listen to the announcers. That's true. We don't actually have TED for television in this game, do we? We would have to listen to their announcers.
I think that's right.
Okay. All right. Well, we're starting with a drop ball.
I need to start turning this game on again.
I need to apparently figure out who all the different Houston Dynamo players are that are on the pitch. Do we know if there's been any subs?
Do they have to bring out the board, or do they just like go with it?
Yeah, and you know what? That's a good point. I think they would have to show the board and announce the subs. Everyone would have to come back onto the pitch and restart the way that they were. And
assuming the exact same positions when the whistle went, they have to go back and.
That's right. Yeah. They would have to come back onto the pitch as if the game was in progress, and then they would need to go to the board and do the substitutions, and the players that are on the pitch would have to come off the pitch, and the player would have to come on. Okay. Because that's literally
imagine getting subbed for an hour and a half, knowing you're not going to go back on, but they force you to put your shin guards back on, to take off your jewelry again, to get, in these rain-soaked jerseys, go back out there and just to walk off the field.
Oh no, they definitely have backup jerseys, because we know, because Weston McKennie gets his torn, and there's a jersey waiting for him.
That's the U.S. men's national team. We don't know if they have that budget in MLS.
Because of blood and things like that. So they always have to have a backup. They have at least one backup, maybe two.
But do they have enough for the whole team? Do they have 11 backups is the question.
Yeah, they have each player, they have a backup jersey for each player.
And I'm going to be honest, Jamin, it's been long enough that they probably had time to do a full laundry cycle in between the
also true. Like, they probably could just take them all, throw them in the big dryer. There's probably a big dryer back there, you would imagine, right? I mean, it's Shell Energy Stadium. It's got Shell Energy, so they definitely can have a dryer. Okay, I guess we're doing this.
Do you think the players showered? Do you think that they got dry and they got all, or are they just sitting around in the wet locker room?
That's a big question. I feel like I would feel better if I took a hot shower after being out in the rain, but then they were in heat and humidity. And I think the lightning came down before we saw any inclement weather actually hit the field, right?
Jamin, I don't think any soccer player would take a hot shower in the middle of a game. I'd take a cold shower to wake me up, but I don't think I could do a hot shower.
Well, that's just what I would do versus what an actual athlete would do.
I'm pretty sure being in Houston in summer is basically a hot shower every waking moment.
I can just tell you that when I played soccer, which was a very long time ago, and was in Chicago, and it was in the fall, I played in sleet, I played in hail, I played in rain, I played in snow, I played in everything. And the weather always called for hot, never called for something cold afterwards. So that's just what I played, because that's the way that we play in Chicago. We play in the inclement weather, and the Quakes are used to perfect weather all the time. And whenever they get into these bad weather games, that's been their worst halves of the year. St. Louis, bad weather, worst half of the year, right?
That was Houston, a mild drizzle.
Bad weather, first half of the, second worst half of the year. I still think the second half against St. Louis was a bit worse than the first half, because at least
Jamie, you could probably you could run a statistical analysis on figure out.
Buddha's Buddha. I thought it was Montero for a second. Buddha just took out Steve Clark, and he's already on a yellow.
Buddha getting sent off is not something I had on my bingo card, Jamin.
Yeah, Buddha's already on a yellow, right?
No wonder he's being so reconciliatory.
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, that would not be great. Oh, they could definitely have given him.
He's clutching the other thigh, Jamin. Come on. He got hit on one leg and went down clutching the other. Come on. There's no way they call that back.
Yeah, let's just say that Buddha needs to avoid fouls for the next 25 minutes. In fact, if I was Lucci, even though he was subbed on for Kikanovic, I would potentially sub on Tommy or something for Buddha, because I don't have confidence that Buddha's not going to end up getting a second yellow at this point.
So Asher Cohn in the Quakes Epicenter patron Slack is saying that's Buddha's fourth yellow card tonight. I think that's pretty accurate. And to be honest, Jamin, if we're ever running out of things to say, if we're ever running out of jokes in these watch-alongs, we can always just read from the plagiarize.
That's true. That's true.
It's pretty good commentary fodder.
I think we have full access to the patron Slack, so we could actually show it on here. I just would want to protect the innocent people, who would not want their Slack comments shown, or their, we can't control the language that's used, right? So
that's why you're the admin, Jamin. I would not hesitate.
Idea. Oh, what a save. What a save by Daniel.
See, you know what I just realized, Jamin? I just realized your stream is ahead of mine, so this is a problem now.
Okay,
so you're living in the future.
Oh, okay. So that's kind of an issue here. So
That does threaten the concept.
What do we give us? Yeah, this does really threaten the concept.
Can you delay your commentary by like 6 seconds?
Maybe? I will try to delay my commentary by about how long? About let's say 10 seconds. Maybe we should.
All right. Well, how about this? I'm gonna reload my Apple TV and see if I can figure out.
All right, you do that.
Maybe we can time it.
Tell me when you get it reloaded. What your
All right. I'm at 65:36.
Okay, so you're about 5 seconds behind. All right, I'll keep that. It's hard not to just react.
What does that mean? You're living 5 miles closer to a cellular tower or something like that?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how that goes, honestly.
Don Garber's got like the wired connection with you.
Judson is definitely getting a yellow here, and he will be suspended against St. Louis.
Well, but Carlos Gruezo will be back for the St. Louis match, will he not?
Well, he will, but we don't know. Is Gruezo going to be pulling in at the very last second? Is he going to be, able to get some time to do the tactical improvements, all that kind of stuff? Judson, the good guy that he is, says, "Yeah, my bad. I will help you with your cramp."
I don't know if that's out of the graciousness of his heart or trying to move this game along, Jamin. They've already withstood an hour and a half rain delay. I can't imagine going into another 20-minute stoppage time.
Yeah. All right. So 20 people have decided to stay. 2 people decided to go. Judson is stretching the opponent. It's amazing, as little as Judson has played this season, that he is going to be the first Quake suspended for yellow card accumulation. Wouldn't that figure?
Wow. Is that right? Nobody else has gotten close?
I don't think anyone else has gotten yellow card accumulation this year, unless one of the patrons can correct me. But I think that's the case.
Quite a disciplined team.
Well, not considering all their mass confrontation issues, no. There is certainly not like high discipline. But
okay, so maybe it's more reflective of the fact, we'll say, that they no longer concede as many dangerous counterattacks, that they're no longer scrambling to get back in bad positions. That feels true.
And also, Judson is the guy who needs to stop the dangerous counterattacks, and so it kind of makes sense that he's the pull the shirt guy, pull the shoulder guy.
Are we allowed just to say their names and in a British accents and then stay silent for every few minutes? Is that allowed on one of these things?
As long as you're doing it with British accents, I think it's okay, Alex.
Okay.
Because I'm sure both of us, if you look in our, because I know I've done mine now. I've done the gene. What do they call that? Like the where it kind of tests
ancestry, 23andMe,
your ancestry and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've done that now, and so I now know about my ancestry, and I can definitely say there's a heck of a lot of British in there, but some German, some French, tiny bit of Italian. Just
so you have to start calling it football now. Is that right?
What's that?
You have to start calling it football. Is that
football?
Is that the deal?
I have football heritage. I am football heritage myself.
You have to start drinking heavily after each loss.
I don't think I could drink heavily if my life depended on it. It's not a thing I do.
Okay. You're not going to start any obscene
I'm not in college like you are. I'm a bit older than that. So.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what happens in college. Everyone asks, "Why are you drinking heavily tonight, Alex?" And I say it's because the San Jose Earthquakes lost, and they're like, "Oh, that makes sense."
And also because you're in college, and isn't that what people do in college? Yes, but no drinking until the aftershock's done. At least then you can go drink.
Okay, there's a deal.
All right. No drinking on the job, paid or unpaid.
So the Quakes haven't impressed me since this restart, Jamin. We were talking about whether they'd come out with a plan, and it doesn't really look like they did.
Well,
they might have played checkers in the locker room.
The enemy does something, with their plan, right? So.
Well, thus far, Houston have had the ball in the box 3 or 4 times, forced Danielle into a good save, and the Earthquakes have managed to tackle Houston's goalkeeper once.
Yeah. Well, again, both teams have their agency here. So My son's trying to look in, but he's realizing I'm not looking at our faces. I'm looking at the game, and so I think he's a bit disappointed, probably not realizing that there's
Wait, you're watching the game, Jamin? I was just admiring you this whole time.
No, but one of my son's new things now is to try to get onto the show and then go watch the show on a tablet device and try to see if he could see himself or not. So if you see my arm stretched on the right, I'm holding him back while my wife comes and gets him. It's happened at least 3 times. Oh, Paul Marie in behind. Oh, 2 guys dove.
Oh, he sent both of them. Wow.
How often do you see that where 2 players dive like that? 2 slides.
I'll turn that into a Instagram reel or whatever the kids do these days.
That was a little something there.
In sync too, they get synchronized diving points.
Synchronized sliding.
Yes.
That's what the Quakes used to do last year. They used to just slide all over the box to try to prevent everything.
Well, that's a Tanner Beeson move. That's Tanner Beeson's specialty. It is not passing the ball at the back. It is not tracking his defender in the box. It is he's
a shot blocker extraordinaire. Remember, he led the team in blocked shots as a rookie. And he only played half the season.
I'm convinced that Tanner Beeson, he lied on his resume. He did not play soccer at Stanford. He played like a football linebacker and only for trying to block the field goals. That's all he did in college, was just throw his body in front of whatever projectile was coming its way.
I know there was talk in the chat that he doesn't have very good stats, but his jumping is actually off the charts, very, very good. He's got a very high vertical leap for a
Well, so somebody in the patron Slack today was saying that he would do poorly at the NFL Combine, but that might not be the case. Then he might have good stats.
He actually has there's a photo that was taken last season by your brother. I think it was your brother. Maybe I got it from the Quakes. But I think I used it on an article, and he's way off the ground and he's going straight up. So it's a very, very good vertical.
Well, what I noticed in the last week's game against the Philadelphia Union was that on one of the counterattacks the Union had, he was sprinting back full bore, and he has an interesting sprint technique for him. I'm not going to say it would. He
has a unique gait.
Yes, let's put it there. I don't think he doesn't look like a wide receiver in the NFL. Let's just say that it's less Odell Beckham Jr. and more Rob Gronkowski. I'll put it that way.
So Tommy coming on here, and he looked like he ran to the other side of the field. So was he on for a capo here, or where did he come in at?
Well, I doubt he's in at 10. Is my
looks like he's at right back.
So that is unfortunate because we saw, at the weekend, Jamin, how good Tommy Thompson can be in the midfield. But we know he's not a right back, and Tommy Thompson as a right back is always a sub that has me holding my breath.
Yeah, but he's not really going to play right back here. He's going to do this. He's going to play second winger.
See, Jamin, this is really impressive because that you said that and then it happened on my screen. So to me, it felt like you were predicting the future. Yeah, no, that was very impressive what you just said.
I can see the future.
Yeah.
No, but Tommy in this situation, he's not out there to play defense. He's out there to go try to get forward and get a goal. And of course, they took off the goal scorer in the game in order to try to get another goal, which is always
and we're hearing
interesting.
Sporting Kansas City.
I guess if you were taking bets on a capo getting a brace, you're likely to lose that bet every time. So maybe Lucci just said, that's not going to happen. So let me bet on Tommy Thompson getting an away goal because that's the only time.
Jamin, I don't know what you're talking about. He is the third highest goal scorer on the team this season. He has 3 goals. The only other players that have more than 1 goal are Christian Espinosa and Mbobasi. He's up to 3 now, isn't he? He's got the header today. He's got the banger last week, and then he's got one from earlier in the season.
No. Trauco had the banger. Acapo had a banger. Acapo had a banger earlier in the season.
I need to go back to my stats book. This is why, if we prepared for this, I would have had my book in front of me.
I think he's got 2, and Trauco has 2. So those two outside backs have 4. The other outside backs, Paul Marie, Tommy Thompson, I think are sitting on 0. Well, I know Tommy is. I don't think Marie scored either. I'm not consulting any stats right now. I'm just
you're right. You're right. No, I think that's right.
Yeah. Now what the Quakes need is Rodriguez to bang in a couple of headers. So basically all the signings from the last summer window will be among the top goal scorers in the team. And just when everyone was like, that was a terrible window. Yeah, but if they're among the top goal scorers in the team, in hindsight, it might look like a really good window.
Jamie, are you baiting me right now? You're trying to get me to talk about last summer's transfer window?
We're trying to have a conversation, Alex. We're trying to entertain the fans. Whatever it takes to entertain tonight, I am happy to do. Not sure if Paul Marie was trying to kick that up for a corner, but it goes out for a throw.
I mean, that's excellent technique there, though, because those are hard situations where you don't know if the outside back is behind you. You don't want to concede a needless corner. You also don't want to fluff your line. So it seems like the ideal situation there.
Yeah, no, he got the ideal outcome. I'm just not sure what he was attempting to do. Cutbacks.
Paul Marie hasn't gotten any goals, but I will say he's up there for the wow.
Well, that's do it, wouldn't it? Probably going to put this one out of reach.
So what went wrong there, Jamin? You're living in the future. Tell me what happened.
I'm going to wait for it until I see a replay again. But scoring off of a throw-in when you've got the ability to have your entire team back on defense, not great. But looks like there was inadequate pressure to the ball. Let's just see what we see here.
This feels more brutal than this goal would have been sans the rain delay.
Yeah, it feels like everyone did the initial chase, and then you can see there no one.
Okay, sorry. What is Tanner Beeson doing in this situation, Jamin? Can you tell me what's going through his head?
That's a trailing runner creation there. Tanner Beeson is apparently marking the guy at the top of the screen.
And what is Rodriguez doing?
Not a clue.
So the question has to become on the Aftershock, why no Jonathan Mensah? Because if you look at all 3 goals, it's pretty clearly, just center back issues.
But isn't that kind of a boring conversation? Because ultimately, what are we going to solve by saying it? Lucci's not going to tell us why. And we can both agree that, Jonathan Mensah is a better starting option. But there's something we don't know, Alex. Just like, things we didn't know about, Andy Rios that mystified us, right? Why is Jonathan Mensah still not starting? Well, he started the last game, but that was because Beeson had to play outside back.
Well, they could be piling it on here, couldn't they?
Could be. Outside. I forget I'm still ahead of you by 5 seconds, right?
So not a tactical masterclass is what we're settled in.
Not a tactical masterclass, no.
No. You would have thought that the Quakes would have tried to come out with more pressure, try to get the goal, be aggressive, and put Houston on the back foot. That's what I would have expected after an hour and a half stoppage. It feels like that's the least they could have done to put up a fight. But it doesn't feel like they came with any energy or momentum at all.
Well, I mean, I don't agree that that's the expected outcome there. That's not what I would have expected at all. I would have expected Houston to sit back and let the Quakes hold the ball in front a bit, which is not what they've done. They've continued to press. So really the time, for both teams put them in a position where they felt that they could pick their press back up again, which has kind of created a bit more wide open game, I think, than the Quakes expected to find. Now Houston's sitting back, as you can see.
I don't think the Quakes press worked at any stage of this game, Jamin. It was barely a press.
I don't like their away press at all. I don't think their away press is effective.
I have no idea what they were doing. Their away press tonight just felt like sending Nico Shakiris on needless errands.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it was. I mean, needless. I saw what your comment was in the Slack. I don't think it's needless. I think what they're trying to do is get the goalkeeper, instead of playing short, to kick long by running at the goalkeeper. That's. But what they didn't want to do is sacrifice a Bobasi to make all those runs. There probably was a plan already to substitute Montero at half, and they're like, let's just let Nico chase for 45 minutes.
You're giving Luchi Gonzalez a lot of credit here for a game plan that worked fantastically poorly.
Doesn't mean there's not a game plan. It just means
the outcome. Look, I mean, I'm just looking at the outcome, Jamin, which is that the way the Quakes pressed was they had Nico Shakiris step out of the midfield, follow the ball to the goalkeeper, and then all Houston Dynamo had to do was pass the ball to the center back, pass the ball into the midfield, and then they'd have a counterattack ready to go, like package deal for them. They would be in behind already. Their midfielders would be running, and then they'd have options on the wings because, you know, Nico Shakiris was trailing, and Judson and Jackson Ewell were outnumbered and you know, weren't usually positioned in the right spot because they were caught trying to step up to make this press happen when the press was never on to begin with.
Wanted to see how that developed there. Yeah, I get your points, but I don't think like the tactics are necessarily wrong tactics. I think you got poor results with them tonight. I think the tactics are the same tactics that got them points in the last 3 away games, and they kind of brought the same press out. They just asked a different guy to do it because, you know, he was on the pitch and not Montero at the start of the game. But Montero frequently makes those runs at the keeper.
And so maybe that's the lesson, is that Jamir Montero is just really good at defensive pressure, and Nico Shakiris is out of his depth. Maybe that's what we learned from this one.
Out of his depth is not the term I would use. Is he a less effective presser than Montero? Absolutely. Montero covers a ton of ground. Nico Shakiris is not yet that guy. He's a kid. You have to give him time to kind of figure things out for himself. But if they tell him, hey, anytime that the keeper's on the ball, we want you to make the run at the keeper to get him to kick long rather than a Bobasi. We don't want to tire out a Bobasi. He's going to go 90. You're going to go 45. Then he's on a suicide mission, but it doesn't mean it's invalid. It just means that that's what he's been asked to do. That it didn't, you know, turn out well or produce any results that we can point to doesn't mean it's a bad strategy. It just means that it didn't work in this situation.
I will say that if the heat, you know, is as bad as it looks, then I would have been a lot less committed to this press, Jamie, because even though this press works in Seattle in the cool, even though this press works, you know, in different climates, you're going to have a hard time pressing in 90-degree Houston weather.
Yeah, but both teams are pressing now because it's probably a lot cooler after the storm, right? So Bobasi there had an opportunity to just play that ball across and release Espinoza, and didn't realize.
But how can you blame him, Jamin? He's been watching MLS for the last week. Chips are in vogue. That's what everybody's doing.
I guess. But was Steve Clark actually really off his line there? I didn't notice it.
No, but he knows that the harder the chip is to execute, the more retweets it will get when it goes in. That's
actually true. The probability still is terrible.
With the left foot too is a tricky one. Although I guess he is left-footed.
He's left-footed. Yeah. He just doesn't have a left foot that's made for like straight kicks long distance. He's got a curve on his boot, which I would prefer him have as a striker. You want those curves. Straight balls, you know, unless they're knucklers, are not going to really work in your.
I actually think a nice low shot arrowed into the bottom corner would have been nice in the first half, Jamin. I'm going to have to disagree with you there. I think being able to confidently slot it past the goalkeeper with your laces is helpful.
Yeah, put it on the ground is one thing different, but you still want that ball moving side to side.
So here's the opposite. The opposite claim is you look at a guy like Christian Espinosa, who I don't think has ever tried to curl the ball in his life. Christian Espinosa exclusively bullets the ball with his laces. And he is the top scorer for the Earthquakes this season, Jamin.
It's true, but he hasn't scored since the LAFC goal, right? To the LAFC brace.
I think that's right.
No goal since the LAFC brace. So clearly, Christian Espinoza is back on his normal career goal-scoring trajectory here. He has not all of a sudden become the next Golden Boot winner in MLS. All right, let's just say that the Quakes need to get at least one before stoppage, and then they have a chance to get one after.
This is MLS After Dark, Jamie. They could do it in the 92nd and 95th minute.
Hey, look, I'm holding on here. I'm not going like, oh, this one's over.
Jamin, are you forgetting that the Earthquakes were down 2-0 after 5 minutes? You forgetting how this game started?
Yeah. Oh, I understand. I completely get it. See,
it's 5 minutes would be ends the way 5
minutes would be into stoppage time too. So
does the rain delay get factored in for stoppage time? Are we gonna have like another hour and a half of soccer to watch?
Yeah, it doesn't matter that Houston's got 11 men behind the ball. You know, the Quakes should get 2 here.
Yeah.
Paul Murray is going to do it all himself. And see, this is how you get into the counterattack situations. But Houston's smartly trying to hold the ball here for a little bit. I like actually that little move by Jack Skane there.
Jack Skane brought energy and intensity. It's surprising given that we haven't seen Jack Skane in a long time. He's been below Nico. He's been below Judson. He's been below Baldissimo, I think, on this depth chart. I was not expecting to see Jack Skane the rest of this season.
Well, Baldissimo was
good
injured.
To see him stepping on.
Baldissimo is out with an injury for the last 2 games.
That's right.
So I'm not sure there's anyone left on the bench, to be quite honest. Oh, there's Jack Skane. Oh, and it takes a deflection.
Not a bad hit, though.
No, that's actually a pretty good hit. I like that ball in that situation. I like that hit, that volley, and balls come out. There's actually been another one already tonight that was a goal.
Well, you have to hit it because you can't lose the ball in that situation.
I think who's that guy? I think the guy from Philadelphia was not Philadelphia, Columbus. Or I'm trying to remember now. There's somebody who got a goal tonight that hit one that way. Only Columbus played. Somebody else I'm thinking of. Maybe one of the fans remembers.
Are there any guys on the Earthquakes with tattoos?
Crystal says Jack has been playing at Quakes too and playing well. Daniel Roberts says Jack played last game too, which is correct. Brian Hubler says nice combination play. The clock froze during the weather delay.
I think.
I just wanted to see some of the fan comments because I got the game going here, and I know the fans are making some comments.
Jamin, I think one requirement for the summer signings that the Quakes get is that they need somebody with a nice tattoo sleeve. There's nobody on the team with a tattoo sleeve. I feel like we're missing some ferocity with the tattoo sleeve.
Oof.
That's the same goal now, isn't it?
It's a very similar goal. That's what I get for letting Carl do the project with me.
Is that what you told Carl? You told Carl, Tanner Beeson and Rodriguez don't know how to step forward. There's going to be opportunities in front of them. Just get cutbacks into that space.
That's not what I told him, but they're getting good at these balls in behind to play across to cutbacks.
So this is the same play. This is Tanner Beeson once again being completely in the middle of nowhere. Rodriguez being in the middle of nowhere, and there just being tons of space. Because Tanner Beeson's in no man's land there, right? He's not stepping to the defender. He's not marking anyone. He's literally turning his back, trying to block a cross that does not exist.
Yeah, I'm trying to go back right now to kind of see Tanner. Hang on one second. I think what Tanner is trying to guard for there is trying to go to the end line. And then he doesn't. He still holds short. So, yeah, we'll see if Mensah is all of a sudden back in the lineup. Then we'll know that Tanner Beeson played his way out of a starting job here.
I don't know what it would take, Jamin. I'm not going to lie. I don't think Tanner Beeson has earned the spot in these last 3 games we've seen him. I think it's been very clear that he's a defensive weak spot. And if it takes 4 goals for the Houston Dynamo for Luchi Gonzalez to see that, that's 4 goals too late.
Yeah, well, we don't know why Mensah is not playing. So we know he was a starter, that he got in trouble for something. We don't think it's for breaking the law, here as we know. No one said anything. There's something on the public record or anything like that, but he's not starting, and there's a reason for that.
I mean, in Luchi Gonzalez last week, I asked him, told us that he was back 100%. He told us he was back 100%, though, Jamin.
So at this point, you have to assume it's a coach's decision, and there's something we don't know about. All right, that's the end. So thanks, everyone, for joining in with us. And we are going to end this broadcast, and we will come back to you with the actual Aftershock.
Jamin, you're going to be wearing a whole new outfit, right? It's going to be a completely new set, completely new outfit, completely new everything.
What I'm going to actually do is I'm going to go get a drink of water because I think
drink of water. That's right.
I've talked to you for a little bit. Yes, I am going. I can already tell my voice is not going to last another 45 minutes to an hour here. So I'm going to go do that. We will see you all on the post-game show, the Aftershock, as Arturo has correctly said here. David Romero wants a costume change. The post-pre-Aftershock, according to Lindsay, we will have to talk about all these options on the Aftershock. After a loss like this, on a crazy night with a long weather delay, it will definitely have to be a bit of a different show. Ben Perez, thanks for getting sweet alcoholic water. I can promise you, Ben, it might look like vodka, but it's actually going to be water, okay? All right.
That's right.
Thanks, everyone, for joining us. We will be back with the actual show. Refer to the link that we've put out there, and we will talk to you soon. Hopefully, we'll talk to Luchi Gonzalez, and probably not a player because they're probably needing to go catch a flight, but we'll see how it goes. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, David.